Hello, 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 and we are here in our shop tournament challenge over BSF 2024. And here I am, Anton, and my co-host here being.
Hello, my name is Manny, and
Yo, it's my name's Dominic. What's good?
Okay, thank you, my bros. So here we have in our featured table is Mark using Jheva, and Hans I think is using Rorowa. Guys, what do you think about this matchup? Who do you think is the favored one to win?
for me, the favored one to win is Hans with his Rorowa since Jiva takes time to build up his overdress, and I think Rorowa can gain the advantage in the early game.
Uh, well, um, I'd say the game might go really fast if Rorowa gets to sack more triggers because the power goes to Momoke, and you know how it goes with Momoke and then passing over the power to Radilina. But if Java gets defensive triggers, I think it gets pretty easy for him to stabilize the game. When we get to the G3 turn.
Yes, thank you very much for that insight, guys. So here we are, starting off with Mark going first, riding with the red line. Hans going for the attack. Oh no, it's not actually Rorowa. It's actually Prism. I didn't expect that. He's actually using Prism. I think that's the deck he's planning to use for BSF. So I think that throws away what we just said away from the tape from the window. So what do you think about this matchup instead? I think Prism is one of the best tier decks right now because it can easily counter one of the meta decks, Shiranui, which is currently in stock. It's what currently being shipped out right now as it's being sold as a deck set. So yeah, this deck Prism, the ones that Hans is using, is currently being used to counter the deck. So this is what you'd expect to see during the BSF proper. But against this format where there is no Shiranui, do you think the Prism is a good deck choice?
Oh yeah, it's so easy to play Prism. It's well, the first G3 turn. Let's say if you're going second as Prism, you have a crit. So basically, you go from you're like basically 23 Vanguard with plus critical. I think it goes much faster if he's going first because I don't think Jeva guards that easily against Prism.
Jiva is actually gaining hand cards if he had the Virina for grade 2 to draw 2 cards, but I think here Prism is going second, so that early G3 crit is already having an advantage for Hans since it's constantly having 5 attacks per turn.
Yeah, I think that's right. Hans going first means that Jeva is having a hard time to catch up, unless, of course, it gets the Star Arena as early as turn 3, because it doesn't really need that Persona Ride pressure as long as it hit has the Star Arena, putting the pressure with the triple drive, the restands, and of course the possibility to retire everything when there is 5 dress units below it. But of course, I think Hans is playing here perfectly, not even giving any counter blast to Mark to be able to abuse the restand of Java. So basically killing out the early turn pressures of Mark's Java. This is super smart from Hans. I don't usually expect this from him. I think he really stepped up his game ever since getting the Prism deck.
Bro, what are you saying? Oh my god. No, this guy's actually trying to step up his game for BSF because I think it's just the people that he plays against. I think he gets to challenge himself, but it just sounds very I don't know. I don't know. Let's say it. But I think it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, no, because when you think about his decks, Rorowa, Mushiking, the last deck that he won a shop tournament with, those are very aggressive decks. You want to apply pressure as early as possible. You want damage, putting as early as many units so you can deal 3 damage and then just abuse the restand and the multiple attacks. But with Prism, he's playing calculate. He's playing slowly, playing it calculated. That's what I meant by being having a totally different game plan from the other decks. So, what do you think about this? Do you expect? Did you expect this to be the type of Hans you will see in this stream right now?
I've played with Hans for almost every day, and it seems boring already because his Prism is actually very annoying since for me as a Drajul player, I always like to go second, but I always lose dice roll. So Hans being conservative with not letting his opponent get any counterblast is actually good since it's quite advantageous for him in the late game since he has a lot of hand cards and can easily guard Mark's attacks with Jheva, and he's just wasting his resources by sending all of the overdress like Stravairina or the mirrors into the drop zone.
Well, currently we're going to the drive checks. I didn't check. Okay. So Hans gets a critical trigger. We have 2 damage on the board for Jheva. Now we're attacking for with Late, I think. So we're waiting for guards, asking for guards, guarding for 23. I don't see any triggers for the damage check. So passing the turn over to Jheva. If we get Persona right, this will be much okay. This is great for Jheva, I think. Not much damage on the board because of course we're blocking counter blasts. So Hans with 3 and Mark with 2. I guess he's checking for the drop zone now.
I think Hans is buying time because he's looking at the heal triggers in the deck, so he's denying damage so that it ensures that Mark doesn't heal on his next turn, considering that he got a Persona right. So he's trying to waste resources, though he did not bounce. He did not have the unit to bounce those 2 units on the field. So I think that Hans is quite at a disadvantageous position right now. But looking at his hand cards, I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, so he'll see a restand here from Jheva going with everything in the front row, attacking to Jheva, counterblast 1 to the restand that Stravairina, and for the easy combo to restand everything. This is the powerful turn that I was talking about earlier. Just an easy 5 attacks here. First check, another critical trigger. That is gonna apply another pressure. Another critical, double critical, and a perfect guard in hand. The next turn is ready for Mark, and I don't think Hans has any way out unless he guards everything. He needs to guard everything, or else the game is gonna be over this instant. Of course, he's now forced to block everything with that beautiful double critical triggers, passing both to both units. What do you think about that, guys?
I just think this is unfair. I just think it's just unfair for people to get double criticals and get a PG on the last check. Then again, if we have an Elementaria for Hans, it's online, but it's his turn now. And we have a Persona ride currently, so he's thinking about what units to place. I don't think he has... Okay, he has a G2. G2 Prism, so I don't know if he has... Blandis gets a power increase to them, but I don't think he has one.
I think he plans to conserve his hand cards for next turn, knowing that Mark just got 2 triggers and 1 perfect guard. So I think he's gonna try and knock out both Mirrors and Stravairina.
Yeah, of course, but now it's by surviving this turn, it's now Hans's turn to put on the pain. He will now go with the 5 attacks as always. That is very known for Prism. Going first with the late. I'm sorry. Yeah, going with the late, going with the other rear guard, bouncing those units to the hand for, of course, to be called by Labrador, and calling them once again with the extra critical pressure from Labrador here. This is gonna be. Yeah, soul charge, and that's gonna be extra power up to those units and a draw, of course. 5 attacks here from Hans, showing Mark you're not the only one who can do 5 attacks.
I just love drawing triggers. Okay, we're getting a critical trigger. My turn.
My turn.
We get a PG for a second check. Now we're going with Late again. Of course, we go first with Late because it's gonna be very awkward if you attack with the other rear guard first. Of course, that's just Prism things.
I think the critical trigger was not the best trigger to appear at the moment, considering he's at 5 damage against Mark with 3. So I think the wise move here is to knock out both of the overdresses on the rear guards.
Yeah, I think that would have been a super smart play, Manny. I think you're right because you already know that Mark will of course not let any of those damage hit. it would have been a better choice to just attack into Star Arena because most of the power of the Jheva deck is dependent on Star Arena. If you don't have the Star Arena, the deck doesn't really function as well. But of course, Mark here just surviving, and with the Star Arena ready and online, we're gonna see another 5 attack turn. And of course, here we go. The Gratias to activate the Persona Ride plus 10,000 to the front row. That's gonna be super, super explosive here. Another 5 attacks with plus 10,000 to the board. That is minimum 40,000, I believe. And I don't think Hans has enough hand cards to block everything. What do you guys think?
With 10 hand cards and 5 damage, I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, he doesn't have any leeway here of taking 1 damage because that 1 damage is gonna spell out doom for him. It's gonna spell out the end of the game. That's yes. Star Arena needing 3 cards to, needing to be blocked. Again, everything needs to be blocked here. I think they're talking about the power because Persona Ride was activated and it's super big right now.
Oh, I think Hans miscalculated the power. This is huge.
Yeah, that's gonna be super huge, especially with the Jheva restand here. That is gotta be super annoying. I think that it's that 0 hand cards is not enough, especially if Mark gets triggers with that triple dive. And of course, Counterblast 1 again to restand everything. I think Mark could have just called a unit just so that Star Arena has a booster. But I think he's just conserving hand cards at this point. But we still haven't seen any over triggers. Any of the over triggers here showing will easily swing the game in the player's favor. But of course, with Mark having triple drive, more chances is for him to draw into that over trigger. So first check, second check, and third check, all blanks. Yeah, super dry. If there's no more pressure anymore, that's the same power as last time. I think Hans has a chance to block everything here. But I think he is thinking about it. So I don't think he has enough. What do you guys think?
Even if he survives this turn, I don't think he has the... Oh, yeah, GG.
Oh, and there it is. GG, not enough to block everything. It doesn't matter if he doesn't have the triggers from the triple drive. Those are 5 attacks that are very big that you cannot even block. So GG, very good game from Hans and of course Mark. And right on time, here we are once again with round number 2 for our BSF 2024 Shaft Challenge for the standard format for Card Fight Vanguard. Here we have Gimoz using, I think that's Jheva, using, and Anjo using the tried and tested Dragonic Overlord, the End. I think that's one of his favorite decks, actually. He keeps on saying that he wants to just play Dragonic Overlord because it's one of the most, in his words, brain dead deck that all you need to do is just restand the Vanguard. What do you think about this matchup? This is a restanding Rearguard versus a restanding Vanguard matchup. So it just depends on who gets the better triggers, I guess.
Well, I'm just saying we don't really know what this guy is playing. I mean this for Gimoz because I've seen him play Dragon Tree, Dragon Empire. But if it is Jheva, I think it's just. I think actually it is actually brain dead for Anjo because Jheva needs a lot of things, and if you break, you break. I don't think it's easy to get Shavarina anyway. And then for Dote, it's just I get my Dragonic Overlord. I send it to the drop zone. I play the funny PR guy, and it's just okay. I'm attacking every turn twice with my Vanguard. It's so easy.
In CDO, Gimoz is really known for checking triggers in his drive checks, and he's not one to be messed with, especially now that he has his new deck, the Jheva. So in this matchup, I think it's suitable for Gimoz to go first so that he can build up more overdresses over time against Anjo's Overlord. So what do you think, Dominic?
Okay. So it's actually is Jheva because I forgot that you actually need the G0. I'm so smart. So we get a draw trigger for Anjo here. Screaming advantage with the draw trigger. And now we're passing over to...
So passing over to Gimoz. Gimoz is already getting his Trickstar. Now, what will he do? Gimos is now turn two. I think he's gonna play. What was the name of that other overdress that can draw two cards? I forgot.
The one that draws two, I forgot.
Uh, Kuya Anton, what was the overdress that draw two cards?
That's the prayer dragon. Draws two and then discards one if used as a um dress unit. So huh?
Itong dress mismo.
Yeah, the dress unit. That's the wording.
Ay, ang overdress?
Yeah, it's the dragon.
Dragon.
Yeah, the dragon. The G1 dragon is the one that draws two, discards one. Yeah.
But I don't think he played it this turn. I think he's conserving counterblast as we saw in the last game that Jheva is easily countered, be having a vanilla grade 3 turn if he doesn't have any counterblast. So Gimoz wants to avoid that as much as possible, considering that Anjo is his opponent and Anjo has an annoying style of denying opponents of their counterblast early on in the game.
Yeah, so Anjo is a pretty experienced player, having multiple tops. So of course he knows some counterplays to basic counterplays to some decks, such as denying triggers, denying counterblast. I mean, but I don't think he's planning to do any of it right now. He wants to put on as much pressure as possible because again he is using Dote, he is using Dragonic Overload at the end. He wants to end the game as fast as possible by abusing the restand of the Vanguard, applying as much pressure as possible, wanting to end the game as soon as Dote restands and hits as hard as possible late this turn. But of course, going first, Gimoz has the advantage here as long as he is able to get into that Star by Arena. Again, most of the power of this deck comes from Star by Arena, from BT13, and it gives plus 10,000 to the plus 10,000 to the Grade 3 Vanguard and gives triple drive. So we will see what we will see what Virina version he gets this turn. So of course, check top 7. Here we go.
Now that Gimoz has mirrors on the field, I think he's trying to increase the hand cards that he has. Now that he knows that Anjo already has quite a few cards in this hand, I think it's 11.
A few being 11. a few being 11. And I think Mirrors has... I think he just has one for the original dress on Mirrors.
Yeah, so here we go. I think this is a pretty weak turn, unless, of course, we start seeing which Byrina version Gimoz has in his hand. Of course, if he doesn't have that Star Byrina, this will be a pretty weak turn again, because Star Byrina is most of the power of this deck. So, oh no, he doesn't have Star Byrina. He just goes for the Vanguard. This is a pretty weak turn, not gonna lie. He's just gonna counterblast 1, restand. That's still 3 attacks. And that is a pretty weak 3 attacks. Normally, this deck has a minimum of 4 attacks, but I guess not being able to field anything. Yeah, not being able to field anything else kind of makes it bland. And here we go, Anjo having 2 counterblasts. That's all he needs for this turn. That he is able to push for pressure right now with the Dragonic Overlord, the end, restanding here. He can easily end the game as if he can get the critical triggers, activating the effect of his rearguard Blazing Horn, checking for a Dragonic Overlord, and he wants to have the original Dragonic Overlord to be able to not need to lose Twin Drive, but I guess he searches for the Dragonic Overlord the end instead. I don't think he has it.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't think he has it. Yeah, we will see.
Gimoz is now smiling that Anjo didn't have his original Dragonic Overlord, and considering the hand cards of Gimoz, I think he will survive this turn. Knowing that Gimoz has mirrors on the field, it was a good move to conserve hand cards for the next turn, considering that he plans to survive this and end it on the next turn. I think he has Traverina in the hand, but like last turn was a pretty weak turn because I think he was just accumulating hand cards to survive this turn of Anjo. What do you think?
Oh, so, okay, so we're going with the Twin Drive now. So, again, Anjo does not have the Dragonic Overlord in Soul. So I guess we're just going with twin drive and then losing. Okay, we have a heal trigger. That's amazing. So basically, we're just resetting counterblasts. Again, we saw the damage check with the Gratias, so we're losing one persona now. And we have an over trigger. Are you insane? This game is insane. So he doesn't have to use the counterblast for Dragonic Overlord now. So that means he doesn't lose the drive checks. So he has twin drive. He's attacking with 100 million. I think he placed it on his Vanguard, I think. So Anjo just attacked the rear guard for now, attacking with the Vanguard now with 100 million. I'm guessing we're gonna see a perfect guard. Maybe.
Yeah, that's gonna force a perf guard unless Gimoz wants to basically lose this turn, because Anjo can easily check into critical triggers right now, and woo, double Dragonic Overload. So you're hiding there. So Anjo being forced here to use the effect, discarding one card but losing drive check here. Just for the attack of 100 million, just to try to guard it. Gimoz, of course, doesn't want to be able for Anjo to apply more pressure here. But of course, that's still a very big, beefy rear guard with the triple attack swing. That's plus 15. Yeah, I think that's plus 15. That's 28, 38. Yeah, 38,000. Still forcing a guard from Gimoz unless... Yeah. Yep, Anjo here is just making sure the effects here, but that is a very big rear guard from all the attacks the Vanguard did. Wow, this is the strength of Dragonic Overlord, being able to attack 3 times, especially because of that over trigger. If Anjo had the original Dragonic Overlord in the soul, that would have been a very powerful turn with a 6 drive checks. But I think Gimoz is pretty happy that Anjo didn't have that original Dragonic Overlord, or else he could have easily eaten a critical trigger if it was the next drive check. But now it's Gimoz's turn. He's going to try. Oh, and that's an over trigger.
Over trigger. He gives all the effects to the Vanguard. So Giva survives this turn with having only 2 damage, sustaining 2 damage. But looking at the damage counters of Anjo, I don't think, unless in this turn, he pulls out the Stravarina, but I don't think it's an overdress. He just calls Stravarina. Oh, okay.
Okay, I think he just likes the card.
Unless he can pull off 5 attacks this turn, but I don't think it will go through so easily, considering Anjo having a lot of hand cards this turn. So I don't know what the play is here. I think he's gonna deny counterblast.
Okay, so we saw him placing Stravarina, then retiring it for the effect of the G1, I think. It's to call 2 prayer dragons. I think this is the time he wants to do the Stravarina. Maybe he has an extra. I'm guessing he has an extra. That would be insane right now. So maybe he wants... This is gonna be 4 original dresses on Stravarina. Then if he has another one, I think it's gonna go great for Gimoz right now.
Yeah, so here we go. Gimoz going through the motions, putting everything below the Stravarina. It's a Stravarina. Again, the power of the deck here being a Stravarina. This is what he wants to check, because now the Vanguard is online. It has triple drive and plus 10k power. That is gonna be a super big Stravarina, especially with being able to restand the whole field. But of course, with having only 2 counterblast, this is a very counterblast heavy deck. The very issue of this deck is that it needs 2 counterblasts for every turn. If Anjo had just played defensively, he could have negated this turn, but of course he did check that over trigger, so he would have tried to end the game as early as possible. So I can't blame him for trying to basically just end it for Gimoz, and Gimoz having that perfect guards was just enough for him to survive. So now Gimoz fielding the fields with all the prayer dragons and talismans for the Stravarina restand. This is gonna be a super powerful turn for Gimoz, but of course not having that persona ride means this attack will be very small. And another Varina. That's the no, that's not mirrors. Yeah, I think that's Bram Varina. That's gonna be plus 10,000 for every
Yes, so he's now starting his turn with an attack from Bram. Is that Bram, Dominic?
Yeah, I think this is Bram with the gun. I think this guy is the purple man, right?
Yeah. Anyway, super strong start here from Gimoz, going first again with the two rear guard attacks, just like what Mark did the last turn. This is gonna be an easy 5 attack swing, 23,000 to the Vanguard. Anjo is forced to block this. Of course, he can take it, but a critical trigger can easily end the game right now. He doesn't want to take that chance, especially with a hand size as big as that. Using the cat to plus 20,000 to Vanguard, plus for a 20k shield, making sure that none of the Vanguard attacks is gonna swing. But of course, Gimoz still hasn't have. Oh no, Gimoz has already seen the over trigger, so no over triggers for here. Triple drive. Note the trigger. Is that a Oh, it's critical. All effects to the Star Virina. Super powerful turn again. This is gonna be another attacks from the rear guards. Anjo not taking it, and of course he's gonna block the Star Virina. And he's not gonna let that hit. I think that's gonna be an easy perfect guard right now, just to deny him that last damage. Oh no, he can easily block it. Good try, Gimoz. Now you're just down to one counterblast next turn, so you no longer have that full-filled restand, and that's the issue of the deck being super counterblast heavy. Anjo here is just going through what he wanted to do last turn, putting the original Dragonic Overlord to the soul so he doesn't lose the drive check. Going straight for the Vanguard attack, no longer even thinking about it. He doesn't even want to wait for Gimoz here to react to his deck, to his choices. Go. And here we go. This is gonna be, I believe, that's still 4 attacks. But I already see Anjo has that grade 1 in the hand for another 10k out of nowhere boost. What do you think, Dominic?
So how much is he guarding with? This is just a 2 to pass or something. So Anjo gets nothing, of course, because that's what happens when you get an over trigger. You gaba na siya. So basically, so now Anjo has nothing for his rear guard, so there's no power increase. This is basically with the persona right is 23 plus 13. It was halbe. It was 36 on the right side, and on the left side it's 20, 25 plus 13, 38. So with an attack from the Vanguard, it's just 43. So I'm just going for the swing again. This is just 23. But again, with the twin drive, he has that Dragonic Overlord in the soul. Gimoz is thinking right now of guarding or not guarding. He's going to hope there's no critical triggers and maybe he gets to guard the other ones.
He's counting all the heal triggers in his deck. So if Anjo pulls, I think he's gonna gamble on the Vanguard with a no guard. Oh, he's gonna gamble. He does gamble. Oh, 1 damage. Oh, heal trigger. He pulls a heal trigger.
At this moment, he has a heal trigger. That's 23 to the Vanguard. So this should be easy guardings for Gimoz. He guards for... How much is that? 10? This is 10k, 33? What is going on? So we have just 36. We have a perfect guard. So we got that unlocked. So Jheva is on it right now. My turn, says Gimoz. If he has a Persona Ride, he does have a Persona Ride.
Persona Ride.
So we have a Persona Ride currently. And we are staring down Anjo's 10 hand cards. So Bram has plus 10k. With its own skill, and the Persona Ride gets another 10k, so that's 33 on the left side. Stravarina, this is just 28, I'm guessing. I don't think Stravarina has plus 10 for itself. It only gives that to the Vanguard, so we're going full field. Are those draw triggers? But those are triggers we have right now. He says, the game is over right now. If I don't beat you right now, then I'm dead. But that's basically it. If he gets an over trigger right now, oh no, he doesn't have an over trigger because he just checked that 2 turns ago, I think, as a defensive check. So right now it's up to just guarding and all that. So we have a counter of that. It's restanding for Stravarina, a PG, simple PG, but we still get triple drive for Gimoz right here. First sec is nothing. Second sec is a PG. Third sec is nothing again. Those are three dry checks for Gimoz, but we have APZ at least.
No trigger.
So no triggers here for Gimoz. He's attacking with the Stra now. Another 33 guarding from Anjo. If this is another order, that would be that would be so easy. Again, the order is insane on this deck. Basic for Dragon Empire, that's the card where you bounce the card you just guarded with, or you choose one of those on your Guardian Circle.
And if it's retired.
When it's retired, you bounce it to your hand, and Anjo guards with the PG Elementaria. So, move from game.
Yeah, as I was talking about, no longer having that full attack field, Anjo here just going straight for the Vanguard attack, wanting to end the turn. As right now he's already saying, I no longer want to play this game. Let's just go. And here we go. Gimoz now not being able to block it with all those great Vyrinas in hand, not having enough to block the very big Vanguard attack. So very good game from Anjo here. Congratulations to Anjo. And good game to Gimoz. And here we are back once again with round number 3 for our Top Tech Games Shop Challenge for the standard format. Round number 3, one last round before the finals. Here we have Dio with Avantgarde and Jericho using Megalonozuchi, the snake. This is gonna be a super fun matchup with a very Vanguard centric deck with Dio and a very rear guard centric deck with Jericho. This is a matchup you want to watch, and you normally don't really see much of these decks in the top tables, except maybe for Megalonozuchi. It was a very dominant force when it was released because of just how much pressure the rear guard units have with the multi attacks. This is gonna be a super fun again matchup to see, especially once Jericho hits that threshold of having 5 attacks. So guys, what do you think about this matchup?
So Heroes basically, this is not Heroes. This is actually Avantgarde. Avantgarde takes a long time being turn 4 for itself. If Jericho goes first, and then Avantgarde has access to Richter because Richter only needs your opponent to be G3. So it's potential 3 attacks, but it has to hit. So if you're aware of just Avantgarde and you can read properly like a normal person, I think it's just easy to just guard the first attack, and then when it goes for its second attack, you can just take it if you want. It's just 23 with no other restands. The problem I see with Avantgarde here is that if Jericho goes on the offensive at like turn 2, if he's going first right now, if he goes to attack for turn 2, Avantgarde does not want to waste his hand cards or just use it for guarding. The hand cards is just pretty filled with orders and cards for the full combo right now. So Jericho using is that the grade 1 skill right now? Checking top 5, then putting 2 soul and 1 to the bind zone.
So here, Jericho is going first. That is quite disadvantageous for him. I think he wants to go for an early Persona ride, or like on his first Persona ride, he wants to finish off Avantgarde on on turn 4. But as you said, you are a Avantgarde player, Dominic. So
Yeah, that's me.
the access to Richter on turn 3 is actually huge for Avantgarde, considering that he can play 2 orders at once and accumulating more hand cards with more power. So it's basically having a Persona ride on turn 3.
So so we have a critical trigger. On top of that, we have an unusual playing a G1 order on his first turn. That's not something that happens for Avantgarde here, because sometimes you just damage your orders. But now we have an extra order. So when Richter plays, when it's the Richter turn, you usually use up both orders. So on the next turn, you have no orders. But right now, since we played the G1 order on our first turn, we have an extra order to play in case we don't have any orders in hand, or we don't have Ala di Argente, the PR. So now we're going into Jericho's turn after taking that critical trigger, both triggers by the way, but I think that's a front trigger or a draw trigger. So both triggers down for Jericho. I think this is good for Dio right now. Going on our G2 turn. Um, so this is the card people want for Shiranui, the one he plays on his rear guard right now. I'm searching for a stealth unit. Based on a top 5, you can add your PG if it's stealth. For Jericho right now, he's adding a G3, the one that helps him for his offense. So we see right now this is three rear guards ready to attack. Dio takes this one, of course. He takes a trigger. This is 1-2 pass from Jericho. No trigger right here, so the last attack on the rear guard is not gonna hit. Pretty heads up play from Dio right there. So we're going into our turn 2. Nothing basically happens here. Discards 1, discarding both Persona rides, which I think is okay for Avantgarde if he has the G1 Asagi milestone. If he has it, he can just add it to his hand. But currently he's checking for the G1 order. He has it. So basically, the usual play here is just calling Hanada and then the triple rare. So we're just drawing 1 here, and then on the attack, your Vanguard attacks for 20, then countercharge 1. So we're currently just waiting here. Of course, Dio at an advantage. Jericho, not things not working out for him right now. But we'll see how it goes on his turn 3, because of course that is the power spike. Larger power spike on his Persona ride, which he gets to do.
He does have Hanada on his hand, but I think he's doubting if he should play it or not. And he is reading. Surprising for Dio. He uses Hanada to draw 1. And I think he wants to pressure. What is he gonna do? So
Okay, he's reading right now.
he is
Okay,
gonna attack
going for
for 20,000 to the Vanguard and counter charges 1.
Okay, we're countercharging 1 here, plus 2, since he played in order, that's 20k. He's not guarding because that would be... Okay, he has another trigger on his damage zone. So I think we're just expecting Jericho to not check triggers right now. If I was Dio, probably he won't trigger. Discarding another trigger right here. We're just counting triggers in this game right now. The drop zone also has a trigger, I think. That's the heal trigger, so that's 4 if I remember correctly. The last counterblast, we're searching the top 5. We have the card that actually works for this deck, the one that gets you to draw. Unprecedented, I think is his name. He gets plus 10,000, so that's good. For Jericho, there are lots of things that the snake does. I'm not really aware right now. It's just, I think he gets the names. Okay, draws 2. That's great for him. He draws 2 right now. Basically off of...
He attacks with his Vanguard
Whoa.
first.
Did we not drive check? Did we not twin drive?
Oh, no.
Right now? Oh
Oh no.
my... This is not... I don't know what to say right now. Those are both 23. We did not twin
He
drive.
did not drive.
Or was it a...
He did not
No,
drive
we
the
did
twin
not twin drive. We
Oh,
did
no.
not twin drive. Currently, Avantgarde turn. We're searching for the G2 strategy.
Oh no.
We're going to have 3 orders. If he has Richter, this is going to be
Huge.
huge for Avantgarde right now. But we see a lot of PGs on Jericho's hand, despite the lack of twin drive. Playing an order right now, placing the G1 order because we want to retire the Unprecedented because the guy is too much. He goes for 23. He gets to attack from the back row. Everybody gets plus 5. I think. I could be wrong. So retired. Unprecedented is gone. Okay, we're playing Ala di Argente, the usual order of playing Avantgarde. We're searching for the orders just to deck thin right now. Searching for a strategy that was not put into the Soul Discern. So we're adding the G3, most likely. We have the G3 right now. I don't know how Jericho's gonna come back from that. If he remembers that he's like, oh, I didn't drive check. That's gonna be mentally taxing on you because I could have gotten something.
He is in a bind here because he forgot to drive check last turn, so he is a bit short on hand cards. Considering that he is at 3 damage and Avantgarde having the possibility to attack 3 times this turn if it hits. Unless Dio does not have
The Richter. Again, this is just one of the things when you play Avantgarde, you just hard draw into everything you need. If you don't draw it, what usually happens is you draw into triggers. You hate triggers in your hand. He doesn't have Richter right now. This is 33 Vanguard going against Jericho right now. 33 to 13. I would just PG this. He does PG here. That's good. He does PG here, and the PR gets +5 when the Avantgarde attacks. Then he checks a PG. Checking the PG here, just 15 to the rear guard. Of course, he could guard this one. He's guarding with 15k. That's gonna be huge against Avantgarde in the later turns. If he has the Persona and the Richter for full combo. Jericho's turn. We have the Persona. We see it, the Persona right here. Probably using the Snake skill.
I don't think any perfect guard is good against the snake here because as we know from my experience, Megalonozuchi is maximum 6 attacks, I think, and they're all very annoying attacks since it just requires you to guard 10,000 or 5,000 from hand. So having perfect guards is actually only suitable for the Vanguard. This is quite annoying considering that Dio needs to save hand cards for his next turn. What do you think?
Yeah, I think... Okay, so we're using the Megalonozuchi skill. Binding 2 from Soul, so it gets the name for everyone, every card in the bind zone, I think. It should be. And now he's used his Soul Blasting. No, he's not. He's searching the deck for something. I'm not pretty sure what's going on right now for the Snake, but he has cards to play. He has cards. He has a game to win. So currently we play two of the same card right now. So we're just checking. Dios is checking for the card. Its name. If it has stealth. Did we add a card from? Well, we added a card from drop to soul. To soul? To hand.
Rear. Oh, what skill?
From drop to skill. I think the G2. G2 skill, I think.
Oh, he's moving it in the back row. Considering, I think they have the ability to attack from the back row? Or
yeah,
are there specific units that can attack from the back row?
Yeah, I think we do. I think it's just... I think all stealth units can attack from the back row. Either that or it's just yeah, I think all of them. Or cards with the same name in the bind with the same name as your Vanguard. That's why you have to bind from the soul, which means get to have the same name as all of your units in the bind zone. Which with stealth in their name, card name. As this unit can attack from the back row. Okay, same card name. This unit gets the card names of all your face-up grade 1 or greater card with stealth in your bind zone. Okay, I was right. So now we can basically attack for 6 attacks. This 6 attacks. We don't like 6 attacks on Avantgarde. We hate it. But he gets a trigger again. He gets a trigger. This is easy guarding, but we get a heal trigger, which does not proc because we're at 3. We're at 3. They're both at 3 right now. So, +10 to your rear guard. Dio takes again. That's on 4 damage. He's probably gonna take this one again. PG down. We really don't need the PGs. We need more triggers, which is actually what Avantgarde is very great at doing. Drawing triggers. Persona right into Avantgarde. We want to play we want to put the soul 2 orders right now. For the combo with no intercepts and no blitz orders. Then the G3 strategy order effect says every time your Vanguard attacks, you get +5. Again, that's just a red text skill, so whenever Richter switches with the original Avantgarde, he doesn't have the +5 again. But since we have a PR, so it's not really gonna matter as much. So explaining right now, the G2, no intercepts currently. I think that's why Jericho put one of the G2s the back row.
Did he
maybe
Persona ride?
Yeah, he did Persona ride. So Persona riding right here. Do we have a G3? Are we? We're just
have a Richter.
Yeah, I think no. I saw Richter. Just explaining things right now. we should play an order, the G3. We're not yet, because we're searching. We're just deck thinning, just so we can draw triggers. It's so good. The deck
But
is so good.
I don't think Jericho has is in a bind here, considering that he's at 2 damage, and I saw a bunch of PGs on his end. So even if Avantgarde attacks 3 times, or I think 3 times this turn with big numbers, I don't think it's much of a threat against Jericho, who has the potential to damage triggers for defensive, considering that he has triggers in his hand and has a PG ready in case Avantgarde checks a trigger. So I think the only way that DU can win is that he checks a trigger or a crit on his first drive with Richter. So I think this is his only win con against Jericho right now, considering that Jericho on the next turn has a potential of a lot of attacks with this snake. So what do you think, Dominic?
Okay, so we're going full combo right now. Of course, we're drawing. So this is basically not a +1. It's just a 0. So we're calling Synthetica. Again, this is the cat. The cat. I think he wants to add an order from drop. For some reason, he wants to. Not opting for the guard, the 20k guard. I'm just looking. I just. So we're going with this right now. Waiting for the Richter attack. Richter attacking. This is 33. And the lingering effect of the G2 strategy order means you can't play blitz orders. You can intercept. Since I think we saw a Elementaria from Jericho. I think did he drive check one? Well, anyway, so no blitz orders. We're checking twin drives. We are dry. As usual. So Richter skill gains the original Avantgarde skill, so that's counter +1. I discard 1. We're discarding the order. So now since we have the +5 from the G3, we're attacking with 38. 2-year Vanguard, but this only gets a single drive check. And then both PRs on the left and right gets +10 from both its skill and then the G3 skill. So Jericho taking the damage right now. If he gets a trigger, he doesn't get a trigger. Taking the damage, they're both dry on triggers. We're waiting for the Richter skill right now, discarding 2 from the hand cards, and then switching from the card in the bind zone, Avantgarde. This gets +10, so this is just 33 from the Vanguard. With the boost, this is 43. Counter charging because of the triple rare skill, the G1 in the back row. So we're not taking here. We're guarding with a PG, most likely. Or this is just a single drive check, so maybe he's gonna opt for a 2-2 pass. I'd say for a 2-2 pass. I think so. But with no triggers, checking 3 times, I'm not sure if I'd be comfortable with a 2-2 pass right here. 1 damage. Asking if it's 1 damage. He's taking the damage here. Critical trigger. This is that you saw 3 triggers, 3 drive checks. That was nothing, and now the game is over because you just got a triple. You got a critical trigger on the last one. So now we're just Jericho asking what was going on. So the rear guard on the left is probably a 45k rear guard. On the right is 53. Just 53, so with that, the game is over after a critical triggers here, standard card fight Vanguard. It's so fun.
GG from both players. That was a very close match from Jericho. And here we go, going first with Hans, activating the early cycler. That is super good for him because Prism does needs its combo pieces. If he doesn't have the early Prism, if he doesn't have the Prism units, he's gonna have a hard time with the soul charging and of course with the power because the units depend on each other. Yeah, Franklin going here, not allowing any early damage because he knows that Hans with the Prism deck wants that early damage for it because of the Prism turn once he rides into Labrador, especially with how aggressive the deck is. Going directly into grade 2, activating an order card to draw 1. He's trying to set up the deck. Lororenol is a very slow deck, needing to set up at least two triggers, orders, for it to show the true power of the deck. Going full aggressive here, calling to a rear guard, and then attacking with a Vanguard. No triggers, but Hans taking 2 damage. This is gonna be scary for Hans, not gonna lie. Especially if Franklin is able to sing at least 2 orders now, because that will mean that his Lororenol is active, and that means it has a critical trigger and is not allowing perfect guards. Hans here going with only 1 Prism and calling a Late. And here is what I was talking about. Not having those combo pieces is gonna be a super bad turn for him, because he's basically just forcing the effect just for the power. It's not gonna be as much as he wants to, but of course that's still gonna force a guard from Franklin here, because if he does get a critical trigger, it's gonna put the early turns into naught. You have 2 to pass his first check and the second check, no triggers, but he already got the Celtic, so that means his pieces are ready. So Franklin here needs to attack into those latest, otherwise he's gonna be facing down the full power of the Prism, especially when Hans is able to Persona Ride. But is Franklin gonna take that bait? Franklin thinking here what card to discard for the Lororenol, and of course if he does really want to go into those latest. The problem here with attacking into the Late is that Hans can have a third Late actually in his hand, and basically giving Hans a free turn. So I think that is something that he wants to think about. Singing a song, activating effect of singing a song, attacking the Vanguard instead. I don't really like that play, especially when you already know that he forced call a Late just to activate the effect of Labrador. So that means he needs to see that third Late in hand. Otherwise, triple drive, nothing checked here, and having another order. Hans getting the trigger, that's going to be super helpful for him. And giving it all to Vanguard, I don't know what these players are doing. He could have just saved it for the Late. But of course, 1 Late is now safe. That means it's ready for the Labrador turn. If we do see a Persona right here, this is going to be a super great turn for Hans, especially with 5 attacks. I'm going to assume he's going to call that Celtic. Yes, activating effect, bounce to plus 5,000. And of course, he's going to call the Late and the Celtic combo, activating effect plus 5,000 to each unit. And this is this combo turn that Prism wants to see, attacking into the rear guard, which is okay actually. Taking it and going with the critical attack to Vanguard, bouncing all the effects, Soul Charge 1, and of course a draw. Very strong combo for only Labrador to attack once again with those units with a call. This is a crit pressure right now. I don't think Franklin has any breathing room to take it, especially when he does take it, and thankfully he didn't check into any critical triggers. Otherwise, that would have easily pushed the game in Hans' favor. But he's still facing down very big rear guards here. Attacking first with the Late, and of course, Celtic is going to be able to protect that Late once it attacks. Franklin here thinking those are very big units. He cannot just willy-nilly guard it, of course, without expending much of his hand cards. This is the power of Prism. This is why this is a tier deck. But of course, I can't count Franklin out yet. He is currently in the top table, so that means he is very skilled in using this deck. Activating Persona Ride? Yes, he does. He has the original Lororenol, and that Lororenol is gonna be active right now with the guard restrict and the critical trigger, activating another order, calling rear guards here. Yeah, counter plus one to sing a song. He's primed and ready. He wants to end the turn right now. If Hans doesn't have enough hand cards to block this Lororenol that is currently very big, it's gonna be GG. But I do think Hans has enough hand cards to just block all of this. Attacking to the Vanguard, and it's a, yeah, activating another order. Hans here is Hans thinking of not blocking the attack. Are you sure? This is a critical trigger away from losing. And he does have the OT. Franklin signaling the 2 to pass, but Hans is still thinking if he wants to have an additional trigger here. But Franklin can easily just check into the over trigger to push it over the end. They were just, yeah, they're thinking about first check and second check. No triggers here in Franklin's side. But yeah, good job for Hans for not allowing that Lororenol to hit. Oh, it's a critical trigger, giving it all to the rear guard. Basically saving his butt here. Attacking again into the rear guard, into the vanguards, and of course with the critical trigger unit, counter plus one to discard one, draw two. Now Franklin is prepared for the next turn. Hans is still pretty much in a healthy life here, 4-3. But no Persona Ride means this is gonna be a very weak attack turn. But of course, with having the Lete and the Celtic in hand, the combo pieces are already there. The only wish he has is to be able to push more power into those attacks, because these are gonna be very cute attacks. Putting the okay. He's putting the Lete at the back row. Attacking Celtic to the Vanguard. That's with 13k, 5k shield. 5k shield. Attacking, activating the effect, bouncing to hand, countercharging, soul charging, and throwing. That very strong card effects actually. Now counter blast one to call again those units. That is a crit pressure here. Franklin signaling no guard. That is a critical trigger. It's a Vanguard with a crit. That is 2 damage right now. If he no guards it, Hans can just check into a critical trigger to end the game. This is basically they're basically facing each other's decks, but just have a different way of winning. Okay, here we go. Franklin has the over trigger in his hand. So no more over triggers for both players here. First check and the second check, no triggers. But still, those rear guards are still able to attack. And this is the unfair part about Prism. Having 5 attacks minimum is what makes the deck very, very strong. Attacking to the Vanguard. Franklin is thinking about it. But should you though? I think he can still easily block the attacks, yeah? He should be able to still block the attacks. Attacking to the rear guard. And I hope Franklin has another Lororenol in hand just to be able to push that Persona Ride here. He really wished to be able to end the game last turn, but no. Persona Ride right now. Calling rear guards just to be able to attack. Not being able to sing a song is gonna be super detrimental for him. But of course, Lororenol is already active with the guard restrict. Hans here with a very big hand size. I think he can just block Lororenol right now and not just leave everything to chance here. Yeah, Franklin going for the swing can easily block that. And especially with no over triggers, I think Hans can just say no pass. Still no persona ride turn, but of course this is still a Prism deck. It's still having 5 attacks. Actually searching for that Labrador, but it's a little too late. I think he wanted that from the ride phase. But still, you're still attacking with 5 attacks. This is still gonna be super hard for Franklin to block into. Franklin is hoping for a trigger to be able to mitigate some of those attacks. Hans going through the motion here, attacking with the rears once again for it to be bounced by the Labrador. A Labrador is attacking directly, so because he doesn't have a counter blast. Why? I'm pretty sure he had a Celtic in hand. Critical trigger to the Leyte. Critical trigger, double critical trigger. GG. Hans taking the game with the double critical trigger here. Congratulations to Hans. And also congratulations to Franklin for reaching the top tables. And congratulations to all players here. Again, this is the last round of the BSF 2004 Spring Fest Challenge.